Nothing is worse than hormone belly. I've been there. I have literally seen my belly blow up, go back down, blow up again, stay that way. I'm not pregnant, nothing's changed, and I am super frustrated. Well, it took me a little bit to figure it out. And of course, working with so many patients just like me, I realized I'm not crazy. It's not in my head. Hormone belly is a very real thing, and we need to talk about it. Here's what's happening if you are seeing that exact pattern. You're having a hormone shift, and I talk about it in my latest book, The Hormone Shift. But it's important to understand what hormones are shifting and why they might be shifting. And before we dive deep into this conversation, I also want to say, if you've not had a pelvic ultrasound where we've looked at your uterine lining and at your ovaries, assuming that you still have all of that, please go get one of those done, because it's very important to not just assume bloating is from eating too much or even from just a hormone, when you may actually have something like a fibroid sitting in your belly or something going on with your ovaries that are actually the root cause of the bloating. Now, assuming that that's normal, let's talk about hormone belly. The main hormone triggering hormone belly is estrogen. So if you're seeing cyclical changes in your belly, right, like what I was talking about, out in, almost like an accordion, it's super annoying. Well, you're having estrogen surges. So estrogen on its way up, days 1 through 14 of your cycle, sees that belly slowly getting larger and larger until right around ovulation, right at that peak, is probably where it's the worst, and then it comes right back down. But if you're having a massive hormone imbalance where you've got high estrogen and you're getting these big estrogen surges, but you don't have enough progesterone on board, then you may see hormone belly all throughout the month, even as estrogen technically is supposed to go down because it's not balanced by progesterone. Now, for the women that are in menopause and not getting a period at all, you might be thinking, why am I getting hormone belly? My estrogen's low. Now, here's another quick catch. Your estrogen can be low, but you can still have estrogen dominance. Here's why. Estrogen runs down the pathway, has to convert, and even tiny amounts of estrogen that are building up and getting stored because your gut's not working or your liver's not working, those in turn can lead to estrogen dominance. So the first question to ask yourself, if you've got hormone belly, is, hey, maybe is my estrogen not where it needs to be, or do I have an incorrect or altered estrogen to progesterone ratio? Now, I talk a lot about estrogen dominance in this video right here, and also about how to start this process of understanding what's going on with your hormones right here. All right, moving on, let's talk about a couple of more hormones involved in hormone belly, and then we're going to action plan all of it so that hopefully you have a solution by the end of this video. Now, the other hormone that I want everybody to understand in this conversation is leptin. I feel like I don't talk enough about leptin. Leptin is the hormone that is responsible for us feeling full. When leptin, like all the hormones, are in a sweet spot, right? Not too high, not too low, just right. They work for us. We eat, we get full, we move on to the next meal. We're not overeating, we're not undereating, life is good, belly's happy. But when leptin levels are off, oftentimes above 20, if you're looking at it on a lab sort of report, then what we're understanding is that feeling full never happens. And so you have a tendency to graze, to snack, to overeat, filling the belly up faster than it can empty back out. So the other hormone responsible for hormone belly is leptin, a high leptin, or a really low leptin, which makes you undereat. You simply don't feel like eating. Many of you come to me so frustrated. You're like, you're not eating, you don't eat all day, or you barely eat, but you're gaining weight. My mom complains about this all the time. You know why? Her leptin is too low. She has crashed and burned her metabolism. So again, with a lot of these hormones, we're trying to find the sweet spot. Let's do one more, just so you're aware and you're paying attention to it. I mean, I could pick, but I'm going to pick cortisol to keep the conversation simple. Cortisol is the stress hormone. When we have periods of incredible stress, here's what's happening physiologically. High cortisol, right? Whatever's happened out there, more stressful than your ordinary life, regular circumstances. Maybe you've had a trauma, maybe you've had a loss, whatever it is. Cortisol goes way up. In a high cortisol state, your insulin and your blood sugar start to pour out, trying to give you energy, trying to help your body keep up with the level of stress. But that high cortisol, high insulin, high glucose leads to more belly fat. So sometimes hormone belly is not accordion belly like what I was describing in the beginning, but it's true accumulation of belly fat, which then becomes really stubborn and hard to lose. So all these hormones are connected, and those three main hormone patterns, estrogen, leptin, and your cortisol, in turn influence all the other ones like thyroid, DHEA, so many other ones. So that's probably a whole another video. But here's the thing. No matter what's going on with your hormones, and if you are having trouble identifying which hormone it is, or you can't get your hormones checked because you're getting pushback, you can at least start here in terms of beating hormone belly. Here's what I like to do. I like to incorporate some of the things that rebuild the gut lining, improve digestion, and balance the gut microbiome. So that includes taking probiotics, right? Actually getting a good quality probiotic, something with, when you're looking at the label, at least 50 to 100 billion CFUs. That's the unit that we look at when we're talking about probiotics. And ideally, you have 3 or 4 different strains of bacteria in there to help support the gut microbiome. That's one way to start to beat hormone belly. The other thing that is so incredibly important for women is taking a digestive enzyme. And you really want one that has lipase and ox bile in it. And here's why. As our hormone levels shift and change, and if we are shifting towards a lower estrogen state, the amount of bile, which the gallbladder, remember gallbladder is hooked up to the liver, it produces bile. Bile sort of emulsifies our fats, gets our fats to go where they need to go, helps the belly, helps the microbiome, helps us eliminate. As hormone levels go down in women, or even women that are having early menopause or in perimenopause, sometimes even women that are on the pill, right? Even our young women that are on the birth control pill, because their estrogen is depleted, they are not producing ox bile, so they can't digest fats very well. And in turn, their hormone belly is simply because they're holding on to fat or they're fat spilling. And that in turn is leading to the blood sugar, the cortisol, all these different things, and to the estrogen dominance that we were talking about. So adding in a digestive enzyme for me is critical when it comes to hormone belly, and was a game changer, not just for me, but for thousands of my patients. So I highly recommend trying one of those. Look for something with lipase. Now, if it has some of the protein digesters like amylase or protease or some of those type of things, then those are added benefits. But lipase with ox bile is really a game changer for so many women. All right, let's talk about one thing I like to do when we're talking about hormone belly. We've got to build that gut lining. We've got to support the liver. So things like glutamine and collagen rebuild that lining, right? You've got a gut lining. I always say, imagine your gut almost like a laundry bag, right? But all of a sudden someone starts to poke holes in it. So if you filled that bag with water, it would just start to seep out. That's what's happening to your gut when you're having a hormone shift. So instead, we want to plug up those holes. We can do that using glutamine or collagen, and we can support the liver with things like choline. Now, I love my Belly Fix and really came up with the formula for that reason. I call it the gut kitchen sink, and it's prebiotics, probiotics. It has, fermented turmeric in it, ginger, which acts like a digestive enzyme, choline. It also has collagen in it. All of these things really helping to support that gut-liver connection. So you can either do those ingredients separately. There are many brands out there for sure, or you could take 1 scoop of Belly Fix daily. That's another way to deal with hormone belly. All right, there are so many other hacks for hormone belly. I'll continue to tackle it in additional videos, but if you're just lost, frustrated, not sure what's going on, this is the skinny version. These are kind of the patterns that I see the most frequently, and these are the things that often give you the quickest results. We talk about hormone belly and the hormone shift. I post new videos every week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and definitely don't get frustrated. Hormone belly can be solved, and you don't have to live with it, and no, you're not getting old, and no, it's not in your head.
Perfect. Okay, about